God morning, everyone. For all of y'all that was at last night's Bible class, I'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties that we faced last night. The devil was determined not to let me get that Bible class in, but that's okay. I'm determined to defeat the devil. So usually here in the morning, I guess it ain't many people on Facebook doing Bible class. I'm gonna do my Bible class this morning. And my Bible class last night was all about Abraham's baby mama drama. Abraham's baby mama drama. And we'll be looking at Genesis 16 and 21. This is the first half of our Bible class. It's going to take a two-part series for us to finish this Bible class. But it's Abraham's baby mama drama. And we got a lot of that going on today. And so that's what I wanted to talk about last night. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I will not let the devil defeat me. So if you will go with me, turn your Bibles over here to Genesis 16, starting at the first verse, and you can read along with me. It said, Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Now, right here, a lot of women feel less of themselves because they can't bear their husband a child. Many women have a child by somebody that they're not married to, trying to hold on to them. But that's the wrong way to go about it. A child, not being able to have a child, doesn't make you less of a woman. And you being able to have children doesn't make you more of a woman than any other woman. But these are some of the things we're going to run into in Abraham's baby mama drama. So in the second verse, it goes on to say, And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. In other words, from having children. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. See that? She thought less of herself because she couldn't have any children. And then she goes on and goes further and do something even worse than that. You see, she went and decided to give her maid to her husband so she could have children for her. Another thing makes getting ready, that's just a bomb getting ready to blow up. She bringing in some drama. And Abraham agreed with her. Neither one of them went to God and asked God about this situation. Abraham agreed, and all of a sudden, we got some baby mama building up. You're not less of a woman because you can't have children. You're not more of a woman. And here you are allowing another woman to defile your bed. Both of them allowed another woman to come into their relationship. God said for a man to leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. He didn't say wives. And so they allowed the devil to come in. When you allow the devil to come in, defile your bed, he's going to make a mess of things. Okay, so let's move on to this third verse. And he said, And Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. Move on down to the fourth verse, and it said, And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. See what we had just talked about earlier? Some women think they better than another woman because they can have children. Hagar was able to have children. She got pregnant right away. So now she figures she better than Sarah. She despised Sarah. You can't have children. I got him. He gonna be mine. I'm better than you. No. Having children or not having children doesn't make you better than anybody. So we move on to that fifth verse. And in that fifth verse, Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon me, upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. In other words, I allowed another woman to come into our house. I've allowed another woman to come into our house. My wrong be upon me. And then she went on and said, when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. That was my alarm for my lunch counter. I guess lunch counter gonna be Bible class. Okay, she said, the Lord judged between me and thee. In other words, Sarah was seeing the error of her ways, when she had allowed the devil to come in, cause her to do something foolish. Verse 6, move on. He said, but Abram said unto Sarah, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. All right, here again, they'll allow the devil to come in even further to cause even more drama. Sarah began to mistreat her handmaid. God don't allow you to mistreat nobody. I don't care if you have the authority over them. I don't care if they belong to you. I don't care if they're your child or what. You don't have the right to mistreat nobody. And so Sarah had brought in more drama, mistreating that woman. Abraham allowed this drama, allowed Sarah to mistreat this woman, to deal hardly with her. And so here it is, they both are fault for this drama, this baby mama drama, that steady building in their relationship. It's their only fault, their fault. Neither time did Abraham nor Sarah go to God, counsel with God about this situation or what to do in the situation. And so they just build. Our lives only get worse without God in the midst of it. And this was what's happening with Abraham, baby mama drama. And so she dealt hardly with her. And we move on to the seventh verse, and he said, the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. Verse 8, and he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou? Hold it right there. Look at the angel. The angel didn't call her Abraham's wife. He said Sarah's maid. In other words, this marriage little thing that y'all had put together was wrong and is not considered a marriage in God's eyesight. Everybody going out here, jumping out here, getting married, going to the justice of peace or to some preacher, priest, or somebody. You ain't married just because you put it together. It's got to be considered a marriage in God's eyesight before it's a true marriage. And so this angel did not recognize this marriage thing that they had put together. And he said, you Sarah's handmaid. Ain't nothing changed. You ain't Abraham's wife. You Sarah's handmaid. You still a handmaid. And so a lot of these women getting into other folks' marriage, marrying somebody else's husband, you ain't making things no better. He still belongs to that other woman. God is the one who put a marriage together, not you. And then he said, went on in that 8th verse and said, whither wilt thou go? Where you running off to? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress. Verse 9, the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress and submit thyself unto her hands. Whoa, You go have to go back. This ain't no marriage. He ain't your husband. You got to go back. That's your mistress. That's you, her handmaid. And that's hard. Man, you got to go back to somebody that's been treating you bad. You got to go back to somebody that's been torturing you. Sometimes we got to go back to that job we don't want to go to. Sometimes we got to go back to that friend that we say we ain't going to talk to no more. Sometimes we got to go back to that marriage that we said we don't want to deal with them no more. Sometimes God has us to go back. Why? Because God continues to go back for us. He allowed us to continue to wrong him and mistreat him, and yet he still takes us back. God even said in one place that he's married to the backslider. We keep backsliding. We keep doing God wrong, and yet he keep taking us back. So sometimes you got to go back to that person that's even wronged you. Because God comes back to us, and we know we wronged him. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So Hagar had to go back to Sarah. Wow, that's a tough situation, to go back to a situation that has been wronging you, to continue to deal with people that have wronged you. And so God said, go back and submit thyself unto her. Submit to folks that's mistreated you. God got a plan. Just follow God. Verse 10, listen here. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. See, if you just follow God's plan, it don't make sense for me to go back to this woman that's been mistreating me. But what he said, you just follow God's plan. I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. He's blessing her even greater than what she'd even thought. You just follow God's plan. I know you don't want to go back and submit to that situation, but follow God and he'll bless you. Go on, we move on to this 11th verse. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. You may be caught up in some affliction right now, in some baby mama drama. But you cry out to God, no matter what situation you in, and God will hear you in the midst of your affliction. You call out to God in the midst of your affliction on that job, even though you may have been part of the problem, like Hagar. She part of the problem. But cry out to God in your affliction, and he'll come along. He'll hear your prayer. Cry out to God about that job. Cry out to God about your marriage. Cry out to God about your children. Cry out to God about whatever situation you're facing in your life, whatever affliction you're going to, in your college, in your school, whatever. Cry out to God, and he'll make everything all right. And this is what Hagar did in this 11th verse, and the angel told her, God done heard your affliction. Verse 12, as we move on, and he said, he told her, you're going to have a son, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. You're going to have a son. Sometimes it ain't our fault, is what he's telling you, that our children be wild. But that's children. They're going to be wild. They're going to do silly things. They're going to do crazy things. So it ain't all your fault that your child be wild. 13, and Hagar called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, thou God seest me. God sees me. He sees me in the midst of my affliction. He sees me in the midst of whatever I'm going through. He sees and hears my cry. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me. Verse 14, wherefore the well was called Bear something, I can't pronounce that. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. 15, Hagar bare Abram a son, and called his son's name which Hagar bare. And Abram called the son which Hagar bare him Ishmael. And Abram was 86 old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. In other words, he was like 86 years old when she bare him that child. Okay, so now let's move on over here. Skip over here to the 21st chapter. We got some more drama about to enter into this scene. Now, so far, you see, Abraham got a son by his handmaid, Sarah's handmaid. You know that's going to cause some drama because you got two families in one house, one man, but he got two women. He dealing with two women. And that's a recipe for drama. Okay, and so here we are in chapter 21, and it says, the Lord visited Sarah, verse 1, as he had said. The Lord had promised he going to give Sarah a child, but they going to try to make it their way. The Lord had said he going to give Abraham a child, and so Sarah and Abraham brought in drama by trying to do it on their own. Let's follow God. So God brought her a son, Sarah. He visited Sarah, as he said in his first verse, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah, verse 2, conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age at the set time which God had spoken to him. All of a sudden now, wow, Hagar had despised Sarah because Sarah can have no children. Now all of a sudden, Sarah got a child. See, why you talking about people and what they can and can't do? You might have to eat your words. And Hagar had to eat them words. Here's Sarah having a child. See, be careful what you say about people. Be careful how you talk about people. Verse 3, and Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. All right, Abraham got two sons now, one by Hagar, Ishmael, and one by Sarah, Isaac. A recipe for drama. Two baby mama, and only one can be your wife. Can't have them both. Verse 4, and Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And 5, Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Remember we said earlier he was 86 when Ishmael was born, so this is 14 years later. So Ishmael is 14 years older than Isaac. 14-year difference. All right. Verse 6, and Sarah said, God had made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, verse 7, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. She's basically rejoicing now that God has turned things around. God can turn anything around in your life. Don't you look at your age as hindering you. Don't you look at any physical capability, ailments that you may have as hindering you. What God has for you, it is for you. And what he has called you to do, you're going to be able to do that in spite of what ailments you may have in your body, what physical ailments you may be dealing with. When God calls you for something, he called you and he will use you. Too many people look at their own capabilities. It's not you, it's God. And whatever God gonna use you for, he gonna equip you for that situation. So look beyond your own capabilities. Verse 8, the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. Here we go. And verse 9, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. She saw Ishmael mocking Isaac. And you know, children mock one another. they children gonna be children. Bible already told us earlier that Ishmael gonna be wild. So some children are wild, and they mess with other children. They bully the older, sometimes bully the younger, even amongst sisters and brothers. Children mess with one another. And so Sarah saw this, and it displeased her. She didn't like that. She didn't like it at all. And you know how we is. We can get a little overly emotion when it comes to our children. And so, verse 10, wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son. For the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. He don't belong here. His mama don't belong here. Get rid of both of them. They don't even deserve to have part of your inheritance. No. Get rid of them. Now, verse 11. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. All of a sudden now he got a son, and the son is involved in this situation. Now earlier when she told him to get rid of Hagar, do whatever you want to do to her. She your handmaid. Well, she's still her handmaid now. God told her to go back and submit to her. Now all of a sudden Abraham don't want to listen to Sarah. Now because you got a child, you don't want to listen to your wife now because you got a baby mama by some other woman. Now you don't want to listen to her, but you had been listening to her. You listened to her and went out here and laid with that young woman, which some you weren't supposed to do. You listened to her and put the woman out. But now it's kind of grieving you. You don't want to listen to your wife now. Well, look at here. God stepped on the scene then in verse 12. Let's look at that verse 12. Here go God. God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, because of your son, and because of the bondwoman, that young woman, Don't let it be grievous now, because you done got a child by him now. You shouldn't have never let her defile your bed. Don't let it be grievous now, Don't let it be grievous, because you want to hold on to this young woman. You want to hold on to your child now. Now it's grieving you. God went on saying, all that Sarah said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. I don't care about you being grievous. You listened to Sarah earlier, listen to her now. Because Isaac shall be your seed. You weren't supposed to have no other seed by any other woman than Sarah. You defied your bed, Abraham. You listened to Sarah then and went and slept with that young woman. Now you got a baby by. Now you're going to have to go ahead and listen to Sarah now and get rid of that son, that baby, and the mama. Oh, what a mess Abraham and Sarah had weaved. And God was saying, you got to listen to her, brother. She right. It's right what she telling you. That's what I had planned. Y'all got up here and tried to plan things and mess things up. That woman ain't none of your wife, because I never recognized her as your wife. God never recognized her as your wife. And Sarah is right. Your seed is Isaac. Care about you got this son. It's sad. It grieved you. But you ain't supposed to be having, God said, no two families, no two women in one house. Don't care if you got a child about it. You messed up. That ain't the way God put it together. And so sometimes the mistakes we make in life gonna cause us grief. But we got to follow God's command, which is what Jesus told us over there in Matthew 10 and 37. This is what Abraham got to deal with. He said, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Then he went on. This is for Abraham. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. I don't care. You got that lad, you got that son. You can't love him more than me. You got to follow God's command, Abraham. I don't care if you mad, sad about the situation, way it is, about this child. You want to hold on to this child. That ain't the way God planned it. You went out and had a child outside of your marriage. No, you're going to have to let them go. Man, we can't put our children, we can't put our mother or father, nobody above God. We got to follow God's commandment. All right, we move on to we're going to stop right there. And that's where we're going to end our Bible class, Genesis 21 and 12. So Genesis 21 and 12, we're going to end there, and we're going to take back up there next week and start our Bible class. So I thank you all for tuning in. Yes. And last night, Bible class didn't go through good, but the devil can't stop what God has for you, me, or nobody. He may put up break the bridge in front of you, you detour and go another way. He may tear up the road, detour and go another way. You keep moving forward. Don't let the devil stop you from your ministry, what God has called you to do. Keep pressing your way. And one day you'll be able to reach what God has called for you to reach. All right. Have a blessed day. Hello, Ashley. I was just redoing my Bible class from last night because of so many technical difficulties. So hello, God bless you. And everybody, please always remember to keep God first. Keep moving. Do God command above your feelings. I know a lot of people are dealing with baby mama drama, just like Abraham. But you can't put your children, you can't put your mother or father above God. And what God has called you to do, you got to do it. You in this situation, many of you like Abraham, because of your own fault, your own mistakes. You got to follow God's commandment. All right, be blessed and keep God first.